Super. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Fantastic to be here, and thank you for coming at 9 a.m. in the morning after dinner last night. Much appreciated. I'm really delighted to present this new toolbox on behalf of Save the Elephants and my team in Kenya. It's been a very special process for us, and would love to share this with you. I've brought quite a few copies with me in the room, so I hope you can have a good look at these afterwards. Just got to work out how to get around here. Yes, so just a little introduction for those of you who don't know Save the Elephants. We are one of the main elephant organizations in Africa, and our new vision for Save the Elephants and our new strategy is to have thriving elephant landscapes across Africa in harmonious coexistence with humanity. And this is a really powerful sort of new vision for Save the Elephants, which we really believe in. And Save the Elephants is comprised of these two really important arms, Save the Elephants Core and the Elephant Crisis Fund. And the Elephant Crisis Fund is a really important part of Save the Elephants. It's a program. We support projects across the whole of Africa, some projects in Asia. It started off as a program that helped reduce the ivory trade and the demand for ivory. And in 2020, we included human-elephant coexistence projects as part of the Elephant Crisis Fund. So I've joined that team within Save the Elephants to help Dr. Chris Thowless with some of the expansion of our support around the continent for human-elephant crisis work. Some of our partners are here in the room, which is fantastic. So most of our work at Save the Elephants is based on fundamental long-term research and behaviour, looking at movement, space use, demographics, communication. We're very proud of the fact that most of our work is based on science, whether it's social science or pure applied science in the field. And this is, one of our most famous, sites in Kenya and Samburu with David Dabalan studying elephant behaviour. This is what we would all love to be doing. In reality, this is what Samburu is turning into. We have a real invasion of cattle and livestock. It is a massive challenge, not only for Samburu, but for many of the parks in Kenya, across Africa. And we are really looking at this face on, both with a scientific head and a humanitarian head and empathy head, because there's so many challenges in the world today. And we know that this is happening elsewhere. There's just so much pressure on these parks and resources. And in southern Kenya, where I work down in Savo, we're seeing this more and more. A lot of conversion of bushland into farmland and community land. And we're not talking small communities, we're talking massive industrial towns and cities that are growing on the edges of our parks. And the conversion of bush to agriculture is really a one-way street. So we're seeing this with alarm, we're seeing this as an opportunity as well, and we're really seeing this as a chance to collaborate, which is why the Elephant Crisis Fund is so key for us. There is no way that we as Save the Elephants can work on this giant problem of human-elephant conflict on our own. So we're really delighted to be working with so many people. One of the things we're really starting to see also is elephants coming right into proper towns and villages. This is happening across Kenya. Most of our national parks are not fenced, which we're really quite proud about, actually. We want Kenya to remain open. We want elephants to be able to roam across the landscape. But what we're finding is these corridors are so blocked. And we're finding this kind of modern Africa coming hard up against real massive elephants walking through towns and cities. And it's becoming incredibly dangerous. And, the traditional ways of how people used to behave around elephants has been lost in many of these towns and cities. People behave erratically, they shout, they scream, they throw stones, and this turns very violent, and we're losing a lot of people and elephants in this way. So the research that we've been doing down in the Elephants and Bees project site since 2009, we built the centre in 2013, has been focused mainly on this one tool of beehive fences. Using this tool, it's a great method for keeping elephants out of farms. I'm sure you guys know about it. It has these multiple benefits. It keeps elephants out. It's about 80% effective. It produces honey, which is a fantastic livelihood benefit. It provides these pollination services for not only the crops, but the community flowers and trees, but also it's a hobby. People enjoy it. It's like part of the community. It's pulled people together. And in fact, it's this amazing kind of one tool that we've been developing that has helped us with these communities discover many more ways of living with elephants. And that's what has triggered this new toolbox. So one of the other tools we discovered was planting sunflowers. Elephants don't eat sunflowers, certainly not in our part of Kenya. So combining these two tools of sunflowers and beehives has been highly successful because the bees are being pollinated by the flowers are being pollinated by the bees. We're getting fantastic honey. Elephants have just given up completely on farms like this. They don't want to go anywhere near them. So we're seeing this kind of double benefit of changing crops from palatable crops like maize to sunflowers, which are really productive and wonderful. So these kind of ideas have spawned a whole load of other ideas in Sagala, and we've been trialing a number of tools for some years now, all sorts of new tools that are coming up. We're open to trying them. So we've now got the Cassini metal strip fence, smelly elephant repellent fence, buzz boxes, watchtowers, tin can fences, non-palatable crops, all sorts of alternative incomes. And over the years, we've had more and more people visiting us, and we've been trying to work out how to share our experience with visitors. And as the visitors come, we've been picking up the most amazing ideas for new tools. So it was pretty obvious that we should start doing our own new human-elephant coexistence toolbox. And we know that there are other toolboxes out there, kind of a compilation of ideas, but when we looked at them, we found them very wordy, overly academic. Maybe they only had 5 or 6 methods, if at most 10. We just felt they were very dense. They were all in English. We just felt that they weren't fit for purpose in today's world. So we took this challenge. We've been building this for the last over 3 years now. And we wanted to have a really highly visual toolbox. It literally starts with a toolbox. If any of you have a Land Rover, you open these all the time. An actual toolkit where you can take out all the different pieces that you might need to fix your problem. And the contents page is split into 7 sections. These are the 7 sections that we really felt where you could find almost all of your problems in these 7 chapters. So understanding elephants, farm boundary protection, early warning systems, elephant-compatible farming, elephant-compatible income-generating activities, biodiversity protection, and pastoralists and schools living in shared spaces with elephants. So if you go down to any of these sections and go to that page in the book, you will hopefully find a whole suite of ways to live with elephants. And so the first section we felt was very important, understanding elephants, because, as I said, we are losing that connection to how elephants behave. People are behaving erratically around them. There's 4 whole chapters within this of how to behave around elephants. These are just snapshot pages for you. There's 162 pages, so I hope you're going to have a look at them. But I wanted you to see the type of illustrations we've done. So it's not very heavy on text. It's very heavy on illustration, and it's very graphic about what's going on with each of the elephants in this situation, showing what their behaviors are doing. And there's 5 or 6 pages of like each different elephant behavior. So we'd love you to look at this. Tell us if you see anything wrong, if we've missed anything. We'll definitely include it in the next edition. We've got a whole chapter on like the importance of connectivity. So basically trying to, why is conflict happening in the first place? So these are really educational pages at the beginning of the toolbox. And we really think that we've got to, it's not just about mitigation, it's about stopping the problem in the first place. And fundamentally looking at connectivity and corridors is so key, as we all know. So if you are a farmer like this who's had their house knocked over by elephants, the wall pulled down, elephants have reached inside to get water or food, you know, how would you use this toolbox? Well, in this case, this farmer had water and food that was inside this house. And, you know, they would go to the tool guide at the beginning. They would help, well, what problem do you have with elephants? And you'd look at the different things. Well, do you have a threat to your farm or house? Do you have a threat to your school or compound? Do you have a threat to your water tanks or pipes? Do you have a threat to your trees? So you kind of pick which one is relevant for you. Well, this was a threat to my farm or house. And then you go through to the decision tool guide, and you might have no budget at all. You might have a slightly higher budget. And you know, you can pick which is appropriate for your situation. So in this case, we're going to pick safe food storage because this person's had their house knocked over by an elephant. So you'd go to that section, that page, you'd be taught all the different methods. There's multiple methods of how to protect your food inside your house. And you turn to that page and it'll give you all of these top tips with a step-by-step guide, literally an ingredients list of how many bags of cement, how many bricks, how many litres of water do you need to make this food storage cement store. And these have been a fantastic use in Southern Africa. We haven't used them very much in East Africa, but they're really cool. So once you've got the guide, you can then go to your community, you can print off the pages, your community members can start building this, practicing it, and as soon as you've got some demonstrations in your community, the ripple effect is quite fast. So we're hoping that this toolbox is really for project managers, people who can train up the first few pilots, the first trials, and get more and more communities building these. They're incredibly effective against elephants. They carry between 1 ton and 2 tons of grain. The grain is dry inside, no rats can get in them, and no elephants can get into them. So just to compare the two, this is our project in partners in Tanzania, Frankfurt Zoological Society, who are replacing some of these very old, scruffy grain stores, which elephants and rats, and there's chickens in there, can now have this fantastic new grain store. And elephants really can't knock those down. So, of course, beehive fences are in there, as you'd expect. We're really excited that people are using these simple sheets. It's only 4 pages, and they're spreading around Africa now. So this lovely project in Malawi, I've not been there. I don't know how to get there. But this project, they're able to use the sheets, go to these lovely ladies, and these women can now build their own beehive fence with this very simplistic sheet. And again, we don't know what language these ladies are speaking, so the more illustrative we can make it, the more effective it's going to be. So there's real step-by-step detail in the guide. So even without literacy, you can sort of follow the guide, and that's the idea. So we're seeing this now spread to different areas where English is not necessarily the first language, like in Congo with African parks. We're seeing beehive fences go into the most extraordinary parts of the forests in Central and West Africa, places that I might never get to actually go and train people. Smelly elephant repellent is another example, amazing deterrent developed by Wild Aid and some students in Uganda. These step-by-step guides that women can really easily follow. We're finding this method is spreading very fast around Africa, so hopefully you guys can try it yourselves, and you'll see how effective it is for these communities. And again, the last one, just to demonstrate once the illustration in the book has been built, it's literally a great way to show how these tools are being used across Africa. So there is a physical book, which is here. You guys are welcome to have a look at it. They're clearly not going to help everyone because they're so heavy. They're expensive to print. We're helping some projects have hard copies. Of course, it's super useful in the field, so I hope you guys will print one off. It's worth having it. It's also being updated all the time. So the main thing we're encouraging people to do is go to the website, where we've got all 3 of the different translations on there, English, French, and Swahili. There's a QR code. You can go straight to the website. And on here, you can go to every single page, download the one that you want. So if you don't have a problem with food storage, that you might just have a problem with water tanks, and you just need to know how to protect your water tanks, you can just go to that water tank page, print off the 4 pages, save your ink, and get those distributed to your farmers or your community. So we really do encourage you to use both. Maybe for your headquarters or your office team, print off a big copy, and then for your field staff, you just print off the sheets that you need. So just to thank my amazing team in Nairobi, it's an all-women team that's developed this. Naya Raja, Meha Kumar, and Nicola Heath, who's our unbelievable illustrator. So all of these illustrations are done on an iPad, so they can be adapted and changed. We can change colors. If something's wrong, we can adapt it. So we're hoping by just sharing this out, you guys will give us feedback and say, by the way, that's wrong on page 7. You've missed out this on this ingredients list. Have you thought about this method? We've got about 7 more tools being developed right now. So we'd love to have your feedback. And please go to the website and let us know what you think. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucy. We've got time for one question. Yeah, over here.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing, Lucy. I just wanted to know, do you have some component of monitoring the possibility of monitoring in there as well, maybe to guide practitioners who implement it to give some feedback?
Yeah, no, actually, at the moment, it's not in the toolbox. We were under huge pressure to get these out. It's absolutely going to be in the second version. In fact, there's quite a lot of other things still coming, including an entire media library that we're going to put online, so people can go and go, okay, how do you make this, food storage thing? There's going to be a video showing you as well. All of that's in development. Monitoring, absolutely. And in fact, we were quite excited to see this launch of the guides yesterday. We want to make sure we do this together. We don't want to come up with our own guides. We all have our own monitoring and evaluation, but we want to make sure we do that in partnership with the specialist group as well, so we're all on the same page. This is very collaborative. We want all of you guys to contribute to this. It's free, it's open source, like no one will ever pay for this. So if you can contribute your ideas, this is the time. We need to pull together now because we can't afford for us all to spend our resources on all sorts of different things. So please just email me with anything you think should be in there and we'll put it in the next version, hopefully by the next World Elephant Day. That's our mission, 12th of August. It's quite soon. But yeah, thanks.